Donald Trump has called climate change a hoax.
It'll get cooler, it'll get warmer, it's called weather.
Now that he's president-elect, here's what's at stake for the future of the environment. The Paris Agreement, which was negotiated last year and came into effect just a few weeks ago, was a monumental step for addressing climate change and setting a path forward for the coming decades to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Donald Trump has promised to cancel the Paris Agreement or at the very least renegotiate it.
Stop all payments of the United States tax dollars to UN global warming programs.
He does not have the authority to cancel it. It's an agreement with more than 190 countries. He also doesn't have the power to withdraw from it immediately, at least. It would take at least 3 years to go through those processes. He does have the power to ignore it. It's unlikely that other countries will feel comfortable making big reductions in their greenhouse gas emissions if the United States is not taking the lead. But another policy at stake is Obama's Clean Power Plan.
Single most important step America has ever taken in the fight against global climate change.
Trump has said that he would cancel it.
Environmental protection, what they do is a disgrace. Every week they come out with new regulations.
He has the authority to do that. He could direct the EPA to eliminate the Clean Power Plan.
We'll be fine with the environment. We can leave a little bit, but you can't destroy businesses.
He will definitely, if he does that, face litigation from environmental groups that will argue that it's the EPA's role to do that. It's a long, winding process and certainly not something that he's going to be able to accomplish in his first 100 days. Environmentalists are trying to remain optimistic and looking at a lot of the market trends that have resulted in the reduction in coal power and other greenhouse gas emissions. A lot of it is outside of the realm of regulation. They're also trying to stay optimistic about the Paris Agreement. Some of them say even if Donald Trump withdraws, they're confident that other countries will step up to the plate.
16 years old from Mwanza, Tanzania.
Looking forward, there's a lot of things Donald Trump can do to slow progress on climate change, but many of the trends he doesn't have control over. So there is reason for optimism if you're looking in the long term.
I've seen it, I've read some of it, and it's fine.
They say economic impact is devastating.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
No, I don't believe it. And here's the other thing. You're going to have China and Japan and all of Asia and all of these other countries, addresses our country. Right now, we're at the cleanest we've ever been, and that's very important to me. But if we're clean, but every other place on earth is dirty, that's not so good. So I want clean air, I want clean water, very important.
With everything that comes, each thing that comes out of his mouth, you have to wonder. I mean, I think he loses people along the way, and internationally becomes just a joke.
Like you're talking now, our new segment, Sweeping Forests.
No, leaf raking with Katty Kay.
Oh, okay.
It's actually quite serious. The deadly campfire in California is 65% contained. We've been watching this horror unfold before our eyes as officials work feverishly to locate the nearly 1,000 people who are still unaccounted for. Authorities said on Sunday night that it has killed 77 people and destroyed more than 10,000 homes so far. That number's going to go up. President Trump toured the towns hardest hit by fires, including Paradise, a city that, for the most part, has been wiped out. While he vows to help the state, experts and elected officials say he doesn't really understand what's causing the fire as he continues to blame poor forest management. Listen.
I was watching the firemen the other day, and they were raking areas. They were raking areas where the fire was right over there, and they're raking trees, little trees like this that are not trees, little bushes that you could see are totally dry. Weeds. And they're raking them. They're on fire. That should have been all raked out.
What about the argument?
You wouldn't have the fires.
What about the argument it's climate change, that it's drier, it's hotter, and that's contributing to it?
Maybe it contributes a little bit. The big problem we have is management. I think we're all on the same path. We do have to do management, maintenance, and We'll be working also with environmental groups. They've really, I think everybody's seen the light. But I'm committed to make sure that we get all of this cleaned out and protected. We got to take care of the floors, you know, the floors of the forests, very important. You look at other countries where they do it differently, and it's a whole different story. I was with the president of Finland, and he said, we have a much different, we're a forest nation. He called it a forest nation. And they spend a lot of time on raking and cleaning and doing things, and they don't have any problem.
Raking.
The president of Finland says he briefed the president recently on his country's forest management, but did not recall mentioning anything about raking. I'm not sure what he was trying to get at, Katty K, but this just adds to the list of reasons why our allies and other countries around the world just look at America differently today.
Yeah, so the social meme things going around Finland today are of groups of people getting out over the weekend and kind of humorously raking as a sort of trolling Donald Trump. I mean, the idea that the world is not laughing at America at the moment, but on that one, they are, because it patently wasn't the case that was what was happening. I think, you know, we'll look back and see that one of the great tragedies of this political moment of division is the extent to which climate change has become a victim of that partisanship. And if you are on the side of Donald Trump and his supporters, you will go to the ends of the earth to say that climate change is not responsible for what is happening out in California or other parts of the world at the moment. And if you are a believer in climate change and science, you will try and address that. But the president is in an incredibly powerful position to lead the world right now on what is probably the most pressing issue of our time. And he faced in the face of incontrovertible scientific evidence that climate change is contributing, and it is what Gavin Newsom has said, the governor-elect, it's what Jerry Brown is saying, it's what dozens of scientists, including inside the administration, are saying, is that climate change is behind these things. The president still says, well, not really, no, tiny bit, hasn't changed his view on climate change. He doesn't really think that's the issue here. Let's get back to raking leaves. Anything other than that, let's address the issue of climate change.
And you'd think we'd be done.
Well, I just must say again, raking leaves. This is. I think I saw this in a South Park episode a couple of years ago, or if not, we need to see it because again, it's such a laughable explanation for why we're having these tragic forest fires. But I mean,
there's quite a doddering answer.
Well, there was a lot of doddering this weekend,
very doddering,
and the doddering actually went into sort of a shocking realm.
He's not there.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.